This is the new Ford Kuga, but it's not to be confused with one of these or one of these.
Wait, have you done this for the old Kuga?
Shut up, ruining my gags. It's not actually named after the old Ford Kuga from the noughties. It's not named after the cat either, nor running out of ideas. But Ford isn't, because this car is completely new. Redesigned body, underneath the skin, everything. It's even now available with a plug-in hybrid. Yeah. Now I'm going to give you more information on this car and tell you if it's any good in this video.
Buying a new car? Head to Carwow to get offers from the UK's top dealers. carwow.co.uk, the car buying comparison site.
Let's start off this video by talking about the price. So the new Ford Kuga, it starts from just over £24,500. That you can save an average of just under £3,000 off one through Carwow. Now if you click on the pop-out banner up there, I'll follow the link in the description below the video, you can go straight to the Carwow website where you can see all our different reviews on different cars to decide which one you're most interested in, and then get different offers back on those cars to make sure you're paying a fair price. Right, let's talk about the design of this new Kuga. From the front, it's very much like a Focus, but just more pumped up. Now, the grills actually change colour depending on which model you go for. Now, moving down the sides, wheel sizes, they start at 17s, which can look a bit tiny. These are the largest ones, the 19s. It's sort of SUV-y, pumped up hatchback kind of thing, really, isn't it, from the sides? The back end does slope in a sporty way, which I do like, and I do like the tail of this car and the way they've gone like Kuga over the back. It's pretty kind of bold statement, really. I just want to check something out. Bear with me. Here it is, Carwow stick of truth. Look, I respect you, Ford, for doing this, giving us real exhaust pipes. There is no fakery here. Right, let's check out the inside. So, yeah, the car will beep at you like that if you have the door open with the ignition on, but I need it on to be able to show you all the different kits. The design, yeah, again, it's like the Focus, but just a bit more chunky because you're in an SUV. Quality is generally good, higher up, but as you move lower down, it gets a bit cheaper feeling, and we've got a kind of wobbly thing going on there. The general layout of the controls is pretty easy. I like the fact you have proper climate control buttons, so they're easy to operate when you're driving. Only problem is that some of them are a little bit small and fiddly still, but that's a small complaint. In terms of cubby spaces, got a little bit of storage under there for your lunchtime snack. There's another tray there which you could use for your mobile phone if you wanted to, but it's better to put it there because you get wireless charging across all models. There's some cup holders here, got the key in there. I like this. You've also got a sunglass holder there, though I always end up leaving my sunglasses in there and forgetting about them. The glove box is very average. Door bins are big though, nice and useful. So that's all good, like that. Another thing I like is the infotainment system, which is bright. It's not the best in the business, right? But it's got all that you need from it. So it's got inbuilt satellite navigation, it's got Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, it's easy to just navigate through the different functions. Other systems now are much bigger than this, but it's okay. It does look a little bit stuck on. This particular car has the upgraded digital dials. Now I like these. They are good. So you can cycle through different menus, it's nice and bright, it's quite easy to see what you're doing. The annoying thing is though, that it doesn't actually display the routing data here. You don't have a full map in front of you like a Volkswagen Tiguan's digital dials. In fact, if you click on the pop-out banner up there, you can watch my full in-depth video review of the Volkswagen Tiguan. Now I should point out that this car is the ST Line X, so it has stuff like the sports steering wheel, these sporty seats with, feels like Alcantara, but it's not, in the centre of them, and this rather interesting, if questionable, carbon fibre effect trim on the dash. Looks like a photo. The driving position in Fords is usually very good, and I like it in this car as well. Look, there's enough adjustment in the steering wheel, not loads, but I do like the seating position. You sit dead square to the steering wheel and you can get quite high to get a good look out. The only downside is that you can't get really low in it. Some people might want to be a bit lower, but after all, you buy an SUV to sit up high. So it's pretty good here in the front. Let's check out the back. Shut up. Shut up. Yes, I know the ignition's on. Okay, let's try the back. So, oh, there we go. Knee room's really good, and you can stretch your feet out under the seat in front. This car is fitted with a panoramic glass roof, and normally that reduces headspace, but still got plenty of room above my head, so people over 6 foot will be fine. If you need to carry through it once, there is a small hump in the floor, but it's nothing, it doesn't really matter. And this centre seat is okay, apart from the seatbelt holder will jab into your arse. Yes, imagine I've got the seatbelt on. Yes, it's jabbing right now. But other than that, this is quite a wide car, so it should be fine for 3 in the back at once. Also, look at this. You can slide the seats forward if you need to increase the boot space, and you can recline them as well. That's all good. And if you don't have anyone sat here, There is an armrest with some cup holders. No, yep, things are going to spill, aren't they? You do have some door bins here at the side, which are an okay-ish size. They're not the most practical, they're fine though. And some extra storage here and here. And this particular car has a 3-pin socket there for charging. Now, if you need to carry children, the Isofix anchor points are really easy to get to there. And there's plenty of space to mount even a bulky rear-facing child seat without having to move the front seats forward. In terms of getting a good view out if you're a child, the window ledge is a little bit high, but the windows are still big. But let's just do the important test. Will the rear windows go all the way down? Fail. Oh dear. Anyway, it's enough of that. Let's check out the boot. Now, high specification versions of the Kuga have hands-free opening for the tailgate. Oh yeah. And the boot is actually a decent size. It's going to be fine for most people. The fact is though, it's smaller than that of its key competitors. A Skoda Kodiaq does have a bigger boot. You can slide the chairs forward to make it big if you need to, but you can also do that on lots of this car's rivals. Another thing to note is that the boot on the plug-in hybrid version is about 15% smaller than on the normal Kuga. That's because it's got batteries underneath the boot floor. Now there are quite a few things that do make up for all this because it's got quite a few nice features, this boot. For instance, look, no load lip, so if you've got heavy things, they're easy to slide out. There's sufficient tethering points if you need to tie things down. Hook there for your shopping to hang off, 12-volt socket. Underneath here, there is a space saver spare wheel. And I like the fact that you can lower the seats from the boot using these handles. And voila, there you go. Now it's not completely flat, but the boot floor is fairly continuous, as you can see. So it is easy enough to just slide things to the front if you need to. Right, let's check out the engines. So one of the features I like is that the bonnet release, you pull this twice and then you don't have to fish around to try and unlatch it like you do on most cars. It's just ready to open, which is a good thing. Right, so engine range kicks off with a 1.5 litre turbo petrol with 120 horsepower, but you can also get it with 150 horsepower, both as 6-speed manual only. Then there's the diesels. A 1.5 litre diesel with 120 horsepower. You can get that as a manual or an automatic. Then there's a 2 litre diesel with 150 horsepower. That is manual only. And then there's a 190 horsepower version of that engine, which is automatic only. And you can get that car with all-wheel drive. All other Kugas are just front-wheel drive. Now you may notice the orange cables in this car. That's because there's something special about this particular one. It's also got this bit here, look. A plug-in port. See, this car is the plug-in hybrid, which means it's got a 2.5 litre petrol engine mated to an electric motor. So combined, you have 225 horsepower. Now the car has a 14 kilowatt hour battery pack, which will give you a range driving on electric power alone of up to 35 miles, which is actually better than most plug-in hybrids. To charge it, if you've got a wall charger, 7 kilowatt one, you can do it from empty to full in about 3.5 hours. If you haven't and you just use a normal 3-pin socket, it's going to take 6 hours. And that brings you on to 5 annoying things about the new Ford Kuga. The rear screen wiper is really tiny, so it only actually cleans this part of the glass. It looks as though these doors cover the sills, but they don't fully. That last bit at the bottom is exposed, which means that when you've been driving on a muddy track or something like that, that'll get covered in dirt, and when you get out, my trouser legs are always rubbing against there, so they're going to be getting dirty. This car has the upgraded B&O sound system, but the speaker covers here for the tweeters in the rear are anything but B&O premium. I mean, look at this. I mean, that's just hideous, hideous, hideous. This thin low cover seems like a good solution because when you remove it, it doesn't take up any space in the boot. The problem is, it doesn't fit particularly well. Look, there's these big gaps, which means that when you're trying to hide something away in the boot from prying eyes, if a thief was to come along and start peering in, they'll be able to see exactly what you've got and then probably smash your window and take it. The blind for the panoramic roof takes blooming ages to go forwards or backwards, and it automatically stops halfway like that, which is blooming pointless because you have to press it again. And if you want to anyway, you can just press it to stop it. So why bother with that? Come on, people are getting bored, Well, there you go.
It's not all negative though. Here's 5 good things about this car.
The reversing camera has its own little washer jet just there, so when you put on the rear wash for the windscreen, it washes it clean. Look at that, there we go. Very clever, and I'm now a little bit wet. Ford's My Key allows you to put a speed limit on the car and cap the volume from the stereo when you lend it to somebody. The Kuga is fitted with these little pop out, come on, there we go, door protectors, which means that when kids jump out the back of the car and they just like carelessly go like that, they smash it into a wall or something like that, it's not going to do so much damage. You can get the Kuga with Ford's evasive steering assist, so it uses a camera and a radar in the front of the car to spot objects, and I thought I was going to get hit then. And then what it'll do is help you swerve around them so you don't hit them. And if it thinks that you're still going to hit them anyway because you're going too quickly, like that almost was, then it'll apply the brakes so that the impact isn't as severe as it could be. Ford's wrong way alert uses a camera to read road signs and sat-nav data to make sure you don't go through a no entry or the wrong way up a one-way street. And if you do, it sounds an alarm.
What are you doing? Stop! You're going the wrong way!
It's kind of a bit like that, but obviously automated by the car. Okay, let's see what this Ford Kuga is like to drive. So being the hybrid, this one will always pull away in electric only mode, so it's silent, and as long as you don't prod the accelerator too much, it'll remain in electric only mode and silent, which is nice. In terms of visibility, well, you've got some big pillars there, and there's a fair old pillar at the back, which does affect your visibility. Now this one has the optional cameras, which is good. As standard, the Kuga has all-round parking sensors, so they will help you park. An interesting thing, I don't know if you can notice this, there's a weird whoa, whoa, whoa noise that this car makes, and I think it has to create a sound to alert pedestrians when it's in electric only mode so that they can hear it coming. I quite like this gear selector. It's just like a rotary dial which you go from drive into reverse, and it's all very easy to do, as was the parking. There is one thing that I've noticed though, which is a bit odd, and it's only peculiar to this plug-in hybrid, and that's because it's got regenerative braking. So when you lift off the accelerator and touch the brakes at first, you're not using the normal friction brakes, it's actually using the electric motor to slow the car down. And when it's doing that, it's putting some energy back into the battery, but it does mean that the brake pedal can feel a little bit unnatural and a touch grabby. I don't like it. In fact, it's worse than some plug-in hybrids. Turning circle, it's fine on this car. It's about the same as all the others like this, apart from the Peugeot 3008, which is noticeably more manoeuvrable. And if you click on the pop-out banner up there, you can watch my full in-depth video review of that car. Finally, let's test out the suspension. Now I'm going to drive the Kuga over my potholed, cobbled road, see how it copes with that. So if you can deal with this, it'll be fine in town over most things. It's like rounding the edges off the bumps rather than just like slamming you into them. You notice that it's set up a little bit sporty, but it's not uncomfortable. I'm quite impressed by that actually. So what's this Kuga like out on the motorway? Well, this PHEV version should be able to do 85 miles an hour on electric power alone, so I'm going to try. I'm doing 40. I'm going to have to accelerate not too hard, otherwise the petrol motor will kick in. I have to keep that rev behind that line. Come on. But here we are at motorway speed on electric power alone. And this all helps with the economy. You can just drive around using electric power for most of the time if you're careful. As a result, this car is supposed to be able to do over 200 miles per gallon. But you're only going to get that if you plug it in constantly and always make sure it's fully charged when you drive it. Otherwise, you're going to end up driving around just using the petrol engine. Then that will hit the economy. That's why this one is only actually averaging 65 miles per gallon. If I accelerate too hard, the petrol engine will kick in. So here we go. I'm going to floor it now. There it goes. And you can hear it groaning a little bit. It's just due to the kind of gearbox it's got in it. It's called a CVT, and it just holds the engine at constant revs for maximum efficiency, though it does result in that droning sound. Finally, let's go onto a twisty road. Now, Fords are supposed to be fun to drive. Is this first corner? Do you know what? It does all right. Considering how heavy it is, it doesn't lean that much. It just runs out of grip on the front tyres, so it starts to wash wide and then you slow down. The only thing is the steering just feels a little bit springy. It's like always fighting to turn back to the centre. It's a little bit over enthusiastic to be going straight ahead. It's odd. It's not off-putting though, just will take a few drives to get used to it. This car handles pretty well for a largest family SUV, does the job. Finally, let's talk about the different equipment levels that you can get with the Kuga. So the range kicks off with the Z-Tech, and it gets stuff like this 8-inch infotainment screen with inbuilt satellite navigation, Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. You also get basic air conditioning and cruise control. Next up is Titanium, and that gets keyless entry, automatic headlights and windscreen wipers, and dual zone climate control. Then there's ST line, which gets LED fog lights, which actually turn a bit when you turn the steering wheel to illuminate around the corner. And it also gets load stiffened sport suspension and sport seats. Then there's ST line X, which adds the panoramic glass sunroof, heated front seat with electric operation for the driver's seat and that hands-free tailgate. At the top of the range is the Vignale model, so that gets a heads-up display, full leather interior, including leather on the instrument binnacle. It also gets a heated steering wheel and full LED headlights. Now, which version of the Kuga should you go for and which engine should you choose? Well, I'm actually going to build my ideal Ford Kuga using the carwow configurator at carwow.com. So I'm just building it now, and I'm going to see what offers I can get back from our trusted dealers. So I've got one and I've got some great offers back. Now, if you want to see which model I recommend is the best one to go for, just click on the pop-out banner up there to go check them out. So then, what's my final verdict on the new Ford Kuga? Should you avoid it? Should you consider it? Should you shortlist it? Or should you just go right ahead and buy it? Well, I reckon you should consider the Kuga. It's a pretty decent family SUV. It's just that there's quite a few competitors out there which are a bit better than it. Unless you want a plug-in hybrid, then you should shortlist it because it's very, very good as a PHEV. If you enjoyed the video, please give it a like. Also, comment below any kind of other videos you'd like us to do. If you want to watch some more videos, click on the windows there. And if you click on the box, you can download the CarWow app. It's completely free. You can use it to browse all our reviews and see how much money we can save you on a new car. On average, we can save £3,600. That's right. Also, it has a special number plate reader, so you can scan any car's number plate and it'll tell you how much that car is currently worth. Download it. It's completely free.
First sight, I never believed. When I saw you for the first time, I changed my mind. Your eyes and your smile are a fantasy. I need